with the last name like London, it won't surprise you to hear that my ancestry is from England. And the story goes part of my family was well off, and one of the sons had fell in love with the maid, and he ended up getting her pregnant, and he got kicked out of the family because of it. And so they packed up their stuff and they moved to Alberta, Canada. And from their home in England to Alberta, Canada, the prairies of Canada, they decided that they had to learn how to homestead in order to survive because they had nothing. And so they set up a little house and they started to homestead or farm. And in order to survive, they made butter and then they sold that to their neighbors in order to make money. So this is quite a fascinating story. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because my mom's side of the family comes from a line of farmers from Alberta. And what that means is you work hard, there's a lot of lack and scarcity, and you make everything from scratch. You grow all your stuff and you use everything that you grow. And so my mom is a really good cook and she'll make classic meat and potatoes, but she makes everything from scratch because of the upbringing of lack and struggle. Like there's not enough, so you have to make use of everything. Now, I feel confident that today there is no chance that I will ever be without food. It's just not possible for me in today's age. So that isn't a concern for me. But what I want you to be aware of is that all of our ancestral history we bring with us. And unless we question it, we live it out as well. And so I want to bring it to your attention so you can question it. Here's why. When it comes to eating, the history is you can't waste anything. And so whatever was put on our plate, we had to eat. And we had to sit there until we ate it, or you'll eat it for breakfast. And I was a super picky eater. So I really didn't like, believe it or not, I didn't like any vegetables. And actually, I lived on bananas for most of my young life. And my mom was always worried that I was going to starve to death. And if it wasn't for bananas, I probably would have. But you can see how this gets ingrained in you that you have to not waste stuff, but you also have to eat everything on your plate. Because of that, I'm a classic overeater because I don't want to waste anything. But that's not even why I'm telling you this story. I'm telling you this story because when I moved out on my own and started to create my own way of doing things, I realized I don't have to make everything from scratch because I don't like to cook. My brothers love to cook. I get this from my dad, I guess. My dad has never cooked a day in his life because he doesn't have to, because my mom loves cooking. And I just don't love cooking. I love grocery shopping. I really love grocery shopping. And I like to chop and blend stuff. So that's how I like to cook, but I just don't like to cook. And when it comes to this type of thing, it can feel like a lot of work if you have to make everything from scratch. And that's why it's like, oh, I don't want to make dinner. It's just too much work. But what if you made it easier on yourself? The moment that I told myself I didn't have to make stuff from scratch, I could just buy it already made, was a game changer. And I had to really let it be okay because I was like, oh my gosh, my mom wouldn't do it this way. And that was what was keeping me stuck. It's like this unwritten rule or this unconscious thinking that I had to do it the way that my mom does it. It's like when you question it, how do you clean your house? Well, I clean my house the way I saw my mom clean my house, or the way my mom taught me how she cleans her house. What if there was a better way? Same as cooking. I didn't even ask my mom how to cook. I just kind of would see how she cooks, but I was never interested in it. So I was never like, Mom, tell me how to cook. But when I'm cooking, I would phone her and be like, how do I cook this? How do I cook that? Especially meat, because I haven't eaten meat in a bazillion years. So for my kids, I would always cook them chicken because it was easier to cook. And I just didn't even know how to cook red meat because I never ate it. I think I stopped eating it when I was 18 or 19 years old. So I didn't even know how to cook it. So how can you make your life easier? How can you keep it simple? How can you let go of all the things that you don't like, but you're holding on to because that's just how your mom did it? And so just by being around her, you absorbed that and took it in as your own. So how can you create something that really works for you, that supports you? Well, when it comes to clean, healthy eating, I think you really want to make it as easy as possible. When you are a mom and you have to cook 3 meals a day for your family, and you ask people what they want to eat and they all say, I don't know, there's nothing worse than having to come up with these ideas day after day after day. It's a lot. When you think about, as a mom, how many meals you have prepared for your family, oh my gosh, it is so many. So it stands to reason that if you do something that much, you really want to become efficient at it. You want to set up a system that makes it easy to do, right? If you have to do something all the time, how can you become better at it? How can you make it easier so that you don't hate it? It's not arduous, but it serves you instead. And that's what this podcast is about when it comes to eating food, eating clean, healthy foods. It can be overwhelming for people only because they've never done it before. And I always want to say to you, make it as simple as possible. Make it as easy as possible. So I'm at the point now where I told my kids, I used to always have a student, an international student. And so I always had to cook because I had to feed this student. It was usually a high school student. And once I stopped having international students and my kids were old enough, I said, guys, I'm just not going to buy or cook meat anymore. It just doesn't feel right for me. And so they buy and cook their own meat. But that's all they cook. And so I do all the fruits and vegetables because that's what I eat. And I just make enough to share with them. And because it's summer, we're just all about fruits, fresh fruits. So I have totally reinvented what mealtime looks like. And I eat different than what my kids eat. And so I want to encourage you and inspire you to really have your own back and make it as simple and easy as possible. What are all the hacks? I buy frozen veggies. Frozen veggies are just as healthy as fresh vegetables because they flash freeze them. So they might even have more nutrients because once a fruit or a veggie is picked, then and it's in the air, it starts to oxidize and it starts to lose its nutrients. But when it's flash frozen, it retains all of those nutrients. So for me, I eat just fruits and vegetables, and I will go to Costco and buy as much organic stuff as I can, but I'll buy the frozen broccoli that is packaged and ready to go. So I take away the extra step and the inconvenience of prepping it, which means washing it and cutting it and all that. And I just buy it frozen and it's already done. And the price is the same as buying it in a whole head. But you get 4 bags in the freezer and it lasts forever. And it's literally just good to go. You literally just heat it and eat it. And then right next to the frozen broccoli are fire roasted vegetables. So if you watch my Costco shop videos, you know that I get like 2 bags of each because my kids will eat it too. But with the fire roasted vegetables, they're all ready to go. You literally just have to heat it and eat it. And because I'm not using my microwave anymore, because it's so bad for you, I will literally just put it in a frying pan with a little bit of water to steam it. And sometimes I'll add in soy sauce and maybe some garlic and ginger if I'm feeling it. But the fire roasted vegetables have enough flavor, so they don't need anything. Or I would pop it into the air fryer, and then I don't even have to do anything with it. I just heat it up in the air fryer. But usually I'll saute it in water on the stove. But it is so easy. I don't have to wash and clean it. And then also, I meal prep. So when I make these veggies, I'll make a whole bunch so that they're ready to go. So if I want it later in the day or tomorrow, I can just heat it up in the air fryer, because I don't want to spend my time cooking food. I just don't like doing that. I'll also buy like the spinach in a big bag. So it is like ready to, it's been triple washed, and all you have to do is steam it. Or I use it for my smoothie because I'm eating 2 pounds of vegetables a day. And so I make this green smoothie and I just shove it in there and whip up my smoothie in 2 seconds flat. And not only is it easy to get my 2 pounds of vegetables in, it's just such an easy way for my body to absorb all of these nutrients. I can literally feel my cells soaking it up and just instant energy. But it's all ready to go. I don't have to wash it. I don't have to do anything to it. You can buy frozen ginger and garlic too. So you just plop them in whatever you're cooking, or mashed, pre-grated in a bottle, and you just take out a little scoop. And it's like when you cut out those little things, it makes it so easy. And I didn't do it at first because I thought I was being lazy, only because my mom does everything from scratch. And in my brain, I'm like, I have to do it the way my mom does it. And if I don't, then that makes me lazy. So as soon as I questioned that and let go of it, my life became so much easier. You can get all your spices, of course, ready to go. Sometimes I'll have bags of cooked rice. So when I'm buying prepped foods, I make sure that it's just those foods in the package. There's no added oils. There's no added sugars. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I just want to keep it super simple. Like I'll have a package of rice ready to go if I want to make a quick burrito. I don't have to cook the rice and do all the stuff. No, I just heat up the rice in the air fryer with the veggies I want, and then load it up, and then heat up that burrito in the frying pan. And when go to my Instagram, I show you all how I do this on Instagram. I just videotape everything I do to show how easy and fun it can be to feed yourself whole, clean foods. And then what else will I do? I'll batch prep sweet potatoes. I'll just make a ton of them so I have them for the whole week. And that way I can literally eat them cold out of the fridge. I can chop them, put them in the air fryer. I can make them into chocolate pudding. That's always a favorite one. And my kids will eat them as well. But I just have a whole sheet of roasted sweet potatoes. Japanese sweet potatoes are the best. They're the best. They taste like cake. They are so good. And then I'll try to wash and prep all my fruit all at once. So when it's in the fridge, it's literally just grab and go, or heat it and eat it. I try to make my life so simple in these ways, and again, making these big batches so I have enough for the whole week. I like to keep it simple, so I will make the same thing over and over and over again until I get sick of it, and then I'll do something else. So I was making a huge batch of broccoli and fire roasted vegetables with a couple of eggs, and then sometimes I'll use sourdough bread, because the sourdough bread, it doesn't have any sugar in it, and it has probiotics in it, so it's a healthy bread. And I got sick of it, but I ate it for months and months and months. And now I just take up one piece of bread, and I mash up avocado on it, and then I cut up cucumbers, and then I do an organic veggie patty that I also got from Costco. I heat it in the air fryer, and I just slap it on top. So easy. And now I'm obsessed with this, and I'll just eat that until I get sick of it. You know why? Because I don't have to think. I don't have to come up with any ideas of what I'm going to eat. And that makes my life so good, so happy. What else do I do? Yeah. So this is how you can have your own back and set yourself up for success, because we've spent so much of our life cooking for our family. And when I talk to all the midlife women, the one thing that they hated about motherhood is having to decide, come up with ideas about what they're going to cook for dinner and try to be creative and come up with new ideas, but not spend hours doing it because we're busy working full time, raising kids, doing all this stuff. So that is one of the biggest things. So if you can come up with a system that works for you, and I just gave you some of my best ideas, buy everything as prepared as possible. When you go to Costco, and that chili it's just all organic, good ingredients, and you can heat it and eat it. That soup, all organic, just heat it and eat it. I'm a huge fan of heat it and eat it. Or in the summertime, everything is fresh fruit and vegetables where I just wash it and I don't even cook it. I don't even cook these things because when they're raw, they're even healthier for you. The more you cook a food, the more the nutrients dissipate. So the less nutritionally dense foods are when you start to cook them. So how can you have your own back and make this easier? Because when you're in midlife, it's like not having to do this anymore. But friends, girlfriends, you have to make a conscious effort to do that. Because you've been doing it for so long, you probably don't even realize that you're doing it, and that's a thing. So how can I make my life easier? I'll stop and I'll think, what do I want to change? And we got to consciously be, I don't need to make everything from scratch. I just remember the first time that I realized that and told myself that, how much easier my life became because I was making everything from scratch because my mom did it and I had to impress my mom, which I don't. She doesn't care. But I'm like, I have to do it like this. And if I don't make it from scratch, then I'm a failure. How silly is that? I felt so free and liberated when I let go of that. This is brilliant. This is freedom. This is what midlife is all about, letting go of these things that we thought we had to do to keep our kids alive and be the best mom ever. Sometimes I might just even have a big bowl of fruit for dinner because I can. And those are the best dinners. I just eat whatever I feel like, whatever is easy. And then I share the fruits and veggies with my kids. But even though they're making their own meal, we always make our meals. I always make my meal at the same time so we sit together and eat. And because it's nice now, we'll sit in the backyard with our feet in the grass and in the sunshine. And it is just still such a bonding experience. And we have those cards. Remember, if you want to connect with your family, connect with your teens, you can get these cards that ask questions. And right now, the card set that we have is, I think it's called How Well Do You Know Your Family? And it will ask amazing questions about the people in your family. And you got to try to guess the answer. What is everybody's favorite song right now? Or what is everybody's favorite artist right now? And we got to try to guess. Or what are the top 3 characteristics of each person? And it's so much fun because you get to learn more about your family and show how much you know about your family. And that is what makes a mealtime for me, is connection with my family. There has never been a night where we don't sit together, no phones, just sit together talking and connecting, because we're not just eating food, we're eating with our hearts and souls, all the love of connection, because we need more connection in the world right now. We need more community. And community starts in your home with your family. That's the nucleus of community, is you and your immediate family. And then it goes to your extended family, and then your neighborhood, and then your community, and then your city. That's how it's so important to create connection these days. So just do what feels right for you and nourish your body in the healthiest, easiest way possible. Because if you're trying to nourish your body through food, but it feels like too much and too overwhelming, so you don't do it, then you're not winning, that's for sure. So how can you make it super easy to get as many nutrients into your body as possible? Think about it from that way. It's how can I get as much nutritionally dense food into my body and make it as easy as possible, so I love doing it? So I'm inviting you to think about all the ways that you can make your food life more simple and easy for yourself, and get rid of anything that isn't that. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.